Hello and welcome to Blood on the Tamesis, a Vampire the Masquerade Chronicle set in Oxfordshire, England 2012. And this is the last episode of Season 3 and the last episode of the Chronicle. So a bit of an emotional time, so emotional in fact that the computer cannot handle it and is very sad. So thank you for bearing with us if you have been watching us live. And do let us know if you experience any further technical difficulties as we go. Anyway, without any further ado, with me tonight we have
Philip Billy returning for the last time as Silas Shaw, Clan Brewer.
X playing Velvet of Clan Ventru.
And Carlos playing Theodore Penn of Clan La Sombra.
Marvellous. So, we left our brave kindred deep in the New Forest. They had gone there to escort the boonkeeper, Gareth Thomas, as he was going to oversee Helena's trial. And Helena was trying to bring back the head of the bowman. So we left them in the middle of a fairly fraught combat last session, where the bowman had dropped from the trees above the heads of our coterie. But before he could get his claws into them, Theodore had grabbed him, plucked him from the air with the arms of the Araman.
Heroically.
Heroically, one might say. And Velvet and Silas had only a glimpse of this through the kind of the torchlight, which was all very strange and sinister. But what everyone is aware of is that he's been hurled through the air, rolling across the ground to land at Helena's feet. And Helena is going to try and take advantage of this situation and attack him while he's on the ground. And the bowman is already seeming to respond very rapidly to try and reach up, lunge up towards her with his clawed fingers. Now, the coterie were gathered by a kind of outcropping of rock in the woods. Velvet is very much behind the rock. Gareth, the boonkeeper, is sort of behind the rock but peeking out a little bit. Behind both of them is Theodore. And in front of everybody is Silas, who is leaning out quite considerably just to see exactly what is going on. It is also worth mentioning that whilst the night is dark, there is an additional chill now in the air that Silas and Velvet, you all feel kind of behind you. There is something deeply unpleasant about this feeling, something that puts you on edge at a deep level. Silas, you will have experienced this before, but never quite so close as it is now. Just as a quick reminder, who is still carrying any kind of torch?
Not me. I think I dropped mine in the ground.
Yeah, I think Silas has dropped his torch so he can fight. So what about you, Velvet?
And
are you still carrying your torch?
No, probably, yeah. Probably.
Cool. You are the only
Yeah, I think you're the one.
You're the only
you're the most
person
likely
carrying
to
a
still have
torch.
it.
Silas's torch is casting some light, but obviously it's casting light in a random place now. It's no longer where the fighting is happening. Is anybody doing anything in the moment where this all happens, i.e. where Helena starts to lunge at the bowman and the bowman starts to lunge up her? Is anyone doing anything, or are you just observing or hiding?
I think Theodore is going to start shouting sort of like combat field instructions. Like he's going to consider this a place of engagement, and he's going to start shouting out sort of orders around.
So what kind of orders is he giving, and who is he giving them to?
Silas, to Silas, go inside the cave and stake the kindred inside. Basically, removing him out of the combat between the bowman and Helena, because he's the one who's closest, and I want him to remove him from harm and place him there.
Okay.
Which I think makes me closest. I don't want
Then, and my next instruction would be to Velvet, as in grabbing his arm and the arm of the herald and say, "Do not let go. No matter what happens, do not let go." we're gonna have to leave soon.
Okay. So, Silas, what do you do?
Silas will step inside, pull a stick out of his pocket,
Okay.
and find whichever end.
So, Silas, you work your way and duck under into the cave. And as you are starting to do that, two things strike you. One is that you don't have a light source, and it's pitch black in this cave. The other is that you can hear something rattling and banging. Sounds like metal chinking, but also like something banging on a door, something a little bit like that. Thrashing and snarling, and you think immediately that there is probably someone having some kind of fit. And Silas's suspicion, because you've been told to stake a kindred, is that it is a kindred in frenzy. So that's what you're aware of as you're going into this pitch black cave.
He's pulling out phones, so I have a little bit of light from the phone.
So whilst Theodore is starting to give his instruction to Velvet, Helena will lean forward. This is probably only visible to you, Theodore, unless you're also staying tucked out of sight.
No, I am
Okay.
keeping an eye on both of them because I need to relay instructions to the others.
So you see Helena repeatedly stab the bowman with her knife multiple times, kind of on his body.
Okay. Is he moving?
Yes, he is driving his hands up through her
Okay.
chest. And it is clear she hisses in pain. There is something... The way the bowman moves and fights feels to you like honourless fighting, like barely contained bestial fighting. It is not that he is in a frenzy, but his movements have that slightly supernatural edge to them that someone whose beast is close to the surface often has.
Got it. Okay.
So you see him drive his hands deep inside Helena's body. But Helena does not stop stabbing him. And she brings this thing down like a hammer every time. And she is moving both supernaturally quickly, but also with supernatural force.
I use
this
the
point,
his. Oh, sorry.
At this point, you grab Velvet and Gareth. And you say the thing, you tell them not to let go and to stay close.
Yeah.
Right?
So basically, if I see that, my phrase would be, Velvet, do not let go no matter what happens. And to Gareth, I go like, when we hear the hiss of Helena, I go like, that should be enough. She's done. We have done our work. We better start moving out of here.
Okay. So, Velvet, when
Yes.
Theodore puts his hand on your arm, you shiver involuntarily.
I mean, it's a scary situation.
It is a scary situation. It's a bit of a shock,
woman is
obviously,
here.
because someone's suddenly grabbed you and you realise belatedly it's Theodore. But nevertheless, you feel a chill run down your spine. But you hear his words clearly enough.
But he's presumably touched me before, and I haven't had this issue.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, but
Okay.
you have not seen two elders fighting, so you're probably shaken.
Nice try. I don't.
I had to say.
I'm not sure what he means by "don't let go."
Okay.
So that's what I'm going to ask him. I'll shake his hand free, actually,
Okay.
of my arm,
Okay.
and I'll say, don't let go of what?
Are you
Of
turning
Gareth.
to face him, or are you are you attending to kind of in the direction where the
Yes,
fighting is?
yes.
So
No, I'll turn
when you
to
say
face
that,
him, I think.
Velvet, and you turn, and your flashlight glances over Theodore, the weird thing is, it's like he's harder to make out than he should be. You can see the shape of him, but it's like the light seems to kind of glance, the light of your torch kind of glances over him rather than picking him out properly.
And then I take a step backwards away from him, and I drag the boomkeeper with me, because I don't know if the bowman might have done something to Theo,
Sure.
but he looks frightening.
He does. He looks
So-
absolutely terrifying. And it's at this point you realise
Yeah.
that his eyes are just black pits. They are just
Okay,
black.
no,
The
yeah,
light from
I'm
your
grabbing
torch
the
just seems to
boomkeeper.
vanish into the sockets of his skull. It is like looking into
Oh,
the
then I
abyss.
grab the boomkeeper and I'm going. I'm not running away, but I'm trying to get away from him.
Okay.
And not go near the bowman, so I'm tripping over the outcropping or something. I don't know.
So are you just like heading into the woods?
No, I'm not like running away.
You're just backing off. You're putting some distance between you.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Listen to me, Velvet. Just go. Make a run for it. Let's go. Now. And I point in the direction which we came.
Sure.
Roughly. Like, sort of that way.
So he moves and sounds like Theodore. It's just...
Because he is Theodore.
There's just this sort of vaguely terrifying air around him.
Okay, in which case I will... Well, assuming I've still got hold of Gareth.
You do, yes.
I'll say, which way? I don't know the way out of here. We got lost hours ago. Who even knows where we are now?
Gareth knows. And I point in the direction, because, like, in the direction we came, roughly.
So Theodore points with usual Theodore
right
confidence in that direction. Now, before we resolve
If
this...
that enables me...
Before we carry on this moment, because lots of things are happening in concert. Around this point, Theodore, over Velvet's shoulder and kind of the rocks, you can't see the bowman very well, but obviously you can see Helena repeatedly stabbing down on him. And she continues doing that, despite the fact that his claws are in her. He pulls her down closer to him, and you hear the crunch of his fangs penetrating the bone of her rib cage. And then,
can they hear it as well?
And then everybody hears it, apart from Silas, who's in the cave.
Okay.
And there's a screaming vampire in there, so we'll come to him in a second. What you see, Theodore, what you're reminded of, because I believe you were there at the time that it happened, and I should say both Velvet and Theodore, you will hear this. You hear this kind of horrible kind of sound.
Oh my god.
Basically like me drinking a milkshake, essentially. It's what it's like. There is the sound of blood rushing from Helena's body into the bowman's mouth. And Theodore, you alone, because your eyesight is excellent, will see some of those stab wounds already just closing up as if they were never there.
Oh, shit.
Silas, you are in the cave. It is dark.
Yep.
You have a stake in your hand, and you are making your way towards...
The phone with the light.
Yeah, the phone light.
Are you putting your phone light on? Okay. When you take your phone out, you see you have lots of missed messages. You put your phone light on, and under
we have phone signal. I phone Adam.
Oh, no. These are not... No, this is not... These
are
messages
old.
from now. These are old messages. So, Silas, with the weak light from your phone, you can now pick out the coffin, which has the chain that holds it closed. And you will see that a section of the coffin lid has been broken off, and that something is gradually ripping, now that there is a break in the lid, ripping it to shreds in a ravenous, crazy manner. However, it is still currently trapped, or he is still currently trapped in the coffin. But he, with a beast's determination, is just tearing and thrashing and gradually working his way out. What would you like to do?
I'm going to move in and just stake him.
Okay. You move in to stake him. So I think this is going to be a dexterity and melee roll. It's fair to say that there are some interesting impacts on the difficulty, because in some ways this guy can't move, but in other ways it's very hard to get him directly in the heart with the angle that you have. Anything I should know about your approach, Silas, or are you just going to go and have a hopeful go at staking this person?
It's a kind of remembering from, of course, medical knowledge with using medical members with that I've had, because of course I've been spending a lot of time with Joanne previously, taking care and remembering where a certain hole was in Samata's armor.
Okay.
I'm going for that area, making sure to get use those to try and that area.
Sure.
And this needs to be done quick, so I'll rouse.
Excellent. So you move forward, phone with its little light in one hand, stake in the other. And as you get closer, you see the kind of the hands clawing out of the hole in your vague direction as you lean in with your stake.
I have 5 successes.
5 successes.
Mm-hmm.
So...
And I don't go away.
And he passes the rouse check.
Wood splinters as you drive your stake slightly through the lid, the edge of the lid, to get the right angle.
I did as well. My last session have prowess active.
I remember.
I
remember.
Wow. Yeah.
So it is trivial for you to break through this already cracked lid and drive your stake. You're not entirely sure whether you perfectly stake this thing in the heart or not, but you certainly drive this deep enough into this beaten, wretched creature to stop it moving.
Yep. And then I'm moving out.
Okay, so you turn and you start to make your way back out. Meanwhile, back outside, Velvet, I believe you were having an interaction with Theodore.
So I think I've got Gareth with me, which means I think I'm based on what Theodore said that he knows where we have to go. So I'll call to him, or he's right by me, right? So I can say to him, Gareth, which way do we gotta go? We have to get out of here.
Gareth will. Let's see how Gareth does. So Gareth is looking quite worried and like he's slightly maybe in shock. And he will be like, I don't know. You're supposed to be protecting me. I'm just supposed to watch Helena.
You're alive, aren't you? We're protecting you. This is. I'll call to Theodore. Which goddamn way?
I turn and I point into the direction that I think that I need to tell them to go. It's like, that way. Don't stop until you hear me or Silas is behind you. Silas, bring that body with you. And I take my satchel down, open it, throw it in the ground, and take a couple of steps in the way of the bowman and Helena, and watch there, just to interpose myself between them and the rest of the group.
So whilst you are saying all of that, Theodore, to Velvet, you become aware that whilst the bowman still has his teeth sank into Helena has stopped stabbing him, by the way. She is slumped against his body. You are aware that a pair of glowing red eyes are now looking in your direction. He currently still has his grip on Helena. He's laying on his back, but his head is still, I should say, his fangs are still in her body, but you can see one of his eyes looking at through the darkness at you. So you are taking your bag down. Velvet, what do you do?
Wait, so just to check I've understood this properly, this now is looking like the bowman's next target is Theodore.
Potentially.
Okay, then I get the boomkeeper, and per our agreement, I leg it in the direction that Theodore pointed.
Okay.
Nice.
I would like you, Velvet, to make a charisma and leadership roll. This is basically to control Gareth.
Okay.
Obviously, if you want to rouse, you can. And all the normal things apply.
I will do that.
Silas, whilst that is going on, what are you doing? You'll probably hear Theodore shouting.
Yeah,
You'll be aware that the sounds of combat have stopped.
Bollocks. Yeah.
That is 3 successes for Velvet.
Okay. So, Gareth will decide that Velvet knows what he's doing and will hurry off alongside Velvet.
Also, Velvet doesn't
go off into the woods in a direction that Theodore pointed. I should say, Velvet, that when you had that look at Theodore, you could, with the light of your torch, make out the way his arm was pointing, but you had to squint to do it. And there is a kind of after image of him logged in your brain that is kind of scary.
You're not helping, Peter.
Sorry, it's like the ST code. You have to be a dick.
Okay.
All right. So, Silas, you'll hear Theodore shouting about bringing the body. It's up to you if you want to or not. The fighting has stopped. What do you want to do?
I'm fighting something to see what's out there. And sword now, the sword now.
Yes, you pull out weapon 3 and make your way kind of out of the cave. You don't have a light handy. Your phone light. Yeah, okay, so you're shining your phone light. What you can make out fairly quickly is the glowing eye of the bowman. And then from that you will be able to get kind of the silhouette of Helena is kind of on top of him, slumped, and then he is looking at. He's not yet acted. So what is everybody's next action? I'm going to assume, Velvet, yours is run away through the woods.
Yep. He who turns and runs away can run away another day.
Indeed. Out of interest, do you have any survival? Oh,
I mean,
hang
I'd
on,
be
folks.
staggered
Hold
if
on.
I do.
Hold on. We might be having a technical difficulty.
No.
Oh, we're back. We're back.
Yeah.
I have no survival.
That is good to know.
This
So
won't
sorry,
survive
folks,
me.
if you briefly lost us for a moment there. The computer is very emotional tonight, so it's going to struggle at points. I'm sorry. All right, so Velvet, you just run off into the woods, and you do that completely successfully. You think you're going in the direction that Theodore pointed. Gareth is with you. Pretty soon, you're just in the trees, rushing along. I'll come back to you in a bit.
Okay. Yep.
Silas, Theodore, what are your intentions?
I just gesture Silas to just get Velvet, like follow Velvet. But my action is, I'm gonna use the arms of the Iron Man, extend it through my shadow all the way to where the bowman is. So if I need to approach even further, I will.
Sure. What are you attempting to do?
Well, I will split. Most of my dice pool is going to be to start enveloping and surrounding the bowman so I can grapple him, while one arm is going to go into the bag and grab the jerry cans and using the cover of the shadows, get them around to where he is. So basically, I'm keeping my bay.
Okay. So you are attempting to grapple him.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. So split your dice pool as you want, and you can start making that roll. Silas, what is your action? What do you intend to do?
Silas is going to see that it's gone very much against them. Things are going there. He's gonna. He knows he can't. There's no way he can fight him. But there is one thing that he can try, because he has no idea what the fuck he was doing. He has no idea with that. So he's gonna try to dread gaze.
Oh, so you're going to try and dread gaze the bowman.
Yeah.
Okay,
Let's go.
that's cool. So what I would
So-
like you to do is make your roll, Silas. Theodore, can you also make your roll?
I
Obviously
did
you're gonna make
mine.
two,
Did
so
I?
split
Did
your
I?
pool.
Did I regain? Sorry. Did I regain? I did split my pool. Did I regain willpower to see, because my desire was fulfilled to see Helena fall?
Yes, you did.
I use it. I use that willpower again,
Sure.
and I reroll.
I will rouse for this roll,
Okay.
so I can get the biggest boost I can.
Okay.
Wow, I'm so dead.
Oh, come on. I think that roll went through. Or didn't it? Shit.
Yeah, we're dead, and I go hungry.
All right, so
I'm
tell me what you got,
Oh, wait.
folks.
gonna willpower.
Because obviously
If
he's
the
making
two of you are
two
dead, I'm also dead. Just a bit later on.
yeah, but it's, you know, you were the last man standing. That's the important thing.
That's a good reroll.
Okay, I have 5
5
successes.
successes. I only got 2.
Okay. That was on the grapple, right?
And I got.
Yeah. That was a shitty grapple.
Oh, fuck.
What?
Oh no. Yeah, it's like, I got 5 successes. Crap.
So, Silas, you bare your fangs, and you make yourself as imposing as possible. You remember that you are the blood of the Black Douglas, and that it is in your power to make lesser creatures flee from you. And you reveal your kind of vampiric strength, bare your fangs, let out a cry. Velvet, of course, you will hear this cry echoing through the woods.
I run faster.
Theodore, you reach across with the darkness towards the bowman. But whereas before you caught him completely by surprise, he is watching you this time. And also he does something you're not quite expecting. Silas, your attempt to intimidate the bowman seems to meet with some degree of success in that he does not spring up to attack you. Indeed, you sense he doesn't run in terror, but he does seem to flinch slightly as if this does give him pause. What possibly mitigates it a little is that some of your sort of majestic demeanor is a little impinged when you see, because you've got your light shining on him, you see this kind of dark shape that sends a chill down you move over to try and reach for him. Now, it's worth saying at this point that I think, Silas, you will realise that this is coming from Theodore at this point.
Yep.
Yeah,
I mean, this
kind
it's
of
stretching
very
past
apparent.
you. It's pretty obvious. And it scares you. Not enough to stop you doing what you're doing, but enough to maybe take some of the edge off it. Because it's hard to scare other people when you yourself are thinking, oh, what's that? The bowman does recoil, but what he does, you see him, he pulls his hands free. He's watching you, and Silas and Theodore, you both get the sense, no longer purely as prey. You have obviously escalated to something more than that in his eyes. Before, when he was there, there was a cool kind of dispassionate thing. There is a more animalistic wariness around him now. But what he does is he wraps his arms around Helena's body. You can still only see one of his eyes because he's still face smushed into her body. And then he just seems to sink and descend into the earth, taking her with him. What do you do?
This is tricky. Theodore will pour a jerry can with his tentacle over the place he went there. Well, actually, both.
Okay, so
soaking
Silas,
the earth as much as possible.
You see 2 jerry cans seeming to move in the dark, and you'll hear the sound of, gasoline pouring out onto the space.
I'm gonna see if I can grab the torch that I dropped and find my fucking claymore because I want a sword.
Yeah, you run and grab the torch. It is still and quiet, but it does not feel safe here at all.
Yep, that's why I want a big one.
Theodore, you have emptied both jerry cans by the time Silas has collected his sword in an area kind of over where you think they were. And you can see exactly
sort of
where they went into the earth. So
yeah, it's like basically like using the tentacles to dig a little bit. I don't know. He went there. I will just make a little puddle and light it up from afar.
Okay.
With a bullet at a distance.
So you move back
and leave that fire.
And you fire your gun, and immediately there is a roar of flames. So Silas and Theodore, this will provoke your beast to want to run.
Yep.
Difficulty is not super high though, because neither of you are that close, but it is nevertheless a sudden rush of flame in your immediate vicinity.
Yep.
So it's a frenzy roll.
It is a terror frenzy roll, yes. So it is your current willpower with obviously humanity.
My
bonus,
current
nice.
willpower plus humanity.
How much is that? Is that the right roll?
Yep. I got a success. I am rolling off.
I have 1 success.
Okay. So the two of you immediately flee.
Excellent.
You see the flames go up in the space where they were. Part of your mind, as it recoils from the fire, also thinks, you're in a forest. This could get really bad.
Only you can prevent forest fires.
I mean,
yeah, you have that power.
Fuck it.
You don't think much
Yeah.
more about that because you are both fleeing. So I'm going to spin forward a little bit at this point. Because what happens is a significant amount of the night passes. I say a significant amount, I mean like half an hour passes, maybe an hour. In which
That's long.
Theodore and Silas run through the woods until such time as they are definitely, without doubt, clear of those flames and safe enough that your beast says, this is okay now. This is fine. You don't run in the same direction, of course. You just run away. It is worth saying, despite the fact that you were in a terror frenzy, Silas, you have managed to hold on to your claymore because your beast is a caring beast.
And were you carrying the dude, or were you not carrying the stake?
No, he
dude?
didn't carry the dude.
No.
He never picked him up.
No. Nope.
However, your beast cares less about your phone. You have dropped that.
Box.
Theodore, you will still be carrying your gun. Just so as you know.
Mm-hmm.
So you will both find yourself somewhere in the middle of the woods. Velvet, for slightly different reasons, you will find yourself somewhere in the middle of the woods. And you are, of course, lost.
I'm very angry because it's a problem I can't resolve by throwing money at her.
Yeah, it's completely outrageous.
Yeah.
So just in general terms, what are your characters intending to do to resolve your lost in the woods situation?
I start navigating my way towards the cars, but I start shouting out, looking for the guys.
Sure.
I'm gonna do the best I can. As no survival skills either, so he's gonna do the best he can from memory of
Okay.
what he knows.
So to cut a long story short, after some time, you will manage to reunite. You will hear Theodore's voice calling, because there aren't many people shouting in the woods. Yes, you're far apart, but you're not that far apart. It just takes time. And by the time you are coming back to the cars, you are aware that you have a little bit of time before the sunrise, but not hours and hours of time.
I have a question.
Yes.
How ruined are Silas's clothes?
Silas's clothes.
Yeah, the ones I'm wearing.
Oh, I mean, they're muddy. But
Okay.
they're not particularly, you weren't attacked or anything else.
I mean, I congratulate myself for not wearing my own clothes.
Yes.
But
Yes, that was a good move.
otherwise-
That was a good move.
Yeah, it was a good move.
Gareth remains very uneasy, but you have kept him calm, Velvet, throughout this time. So let us bring our coterie back together, just because I want to see what happens in this initial interaction. Kind of you've got back to the cars. Or the car and the motorbike.
Sorry, there's not enough time for us to drive back to Oxford, correct?
You could do it, but it'll be tight. You'll be racing the sun, but you could do it. So.
In which case, okay.
So you
I'll
found
say-
each other. Let's pick this up maybe as you're kind of coming out of the woods towards the cars. You can talk to each other if you wish. Theodore is no longer exhibiting terrifying aspects. He seems like normal Theodore.
Okay. I'm running to the car, and I'll shout to the two of them. We have to get on the road now if we're getting back before sunlight.
Stows and stuff on the bike and just takes off.
Yes, just go ahead. We'll meet you there. And Who's driving? Is Velvet in the driver's seat, or is it the other, or is he letting Theodore drive?
I think he's letting Theodore drive.
Yeah, okay. Theodore just jumps in the car and just books it behind Silas as fast as he can.
Sure.
Okay, to be clear, Velvet will look very, very upset and very confused and very afraid. But this is not the time to pick this up. So, but just that Theodore will notice this.
Yes.
Okay.
Theodore will just mention to Gareth, it's like, were you able to see her fall? You need to report on what you saw.
He nods in a very kind of jerky, terrified way. I saw it, yes.
He got away.
Just drive.
Oh no, I'm just driving, and when we're like it's a straight line, like 10 or 15 minutes later in the motorway, that I just have to go in one direction. I go like, okay. He got away. He sunk into the ground, and then he will remain quiet. Like the other will not say a word because he's he's angry that the guy got away.
Yeah. So you drive, and it is tenser than you would like.
Yeah.
But as luck would have it, at this hour, the roads
all.
are very empty and clear. It is very tense within the car, but I assume there is very little in terms of conversation.
Mm-hmm. If I talk at all, it's to Gareth, and I only talk to him if he talks to me.
Gareth will mainly be clutching the kind of the side of the door on one hand, and he will also he will be sitting quite close to Velvet, actually, like you're some kind of source of comfort for him, which is odd because there's plenty of room in this car for you to be sitting, one in each back seat, and that'd be fine. But he is sitting more like in the middle.
Okay.
It's quite odd.
Okay.
He doesn't comment on it unless you do.
Sorry, no, I don't comment on it at this point in time. I have a lot of things on my mind, so I'll assume that he's doing what he needs to do to keep his shit together, and trust whoever this man driving the car is to get us back home as quickly as possible.
Okay. So to cut a long story short, you will make it back before sunrise, but only just. It is a matter that you kind of pull in, and you can feel your bodies getting heavy, and it's pretty much all you can do to throw yourselves into your respective rooms, which is what I assume you're doing, unless anyone's doing something different I should know about.
Well, if it's
give Gareth a room, obviously.
Yeah, we give him a room in the Haven for the night.
Sure, yeah.
But that's it.
And then I go off to Adam.
So as you say to Gareth, you can sleep in here, and he will say, Velvet, to you, I don't want to sleep alone.
I'll say, do you normally have someone that you sleep with?
He says, not after tonight. I don't want to be alone. He looks at you with pleading eyes.
I'll say, well, I can't stay in this room with you. I have somewhere else to be.
So he makes an attempt to persuade you, but it is so poor, he just takes the willpower damage and then gives up.
Okay.
I think Silas would have arrived first, so we had to close the garage behind them, and then he's intending to take the fucking Claymore to bed because he's gonna sleep with Claymore.
Okay.
I'll say to Gareth, I'll come and check on you in the morning.
He looks.
And then I'll just leave awkwardly.
Yeah. Awkwardly leave him looking like he's in some state of distress, but you leave anyway. You'll just, Adam's eyes are closing as you're coming in.
Okay.
But he looks like he's fighting to stay awake.
I will fall into the bed next to him and become unconscious in a very romantic way.
So you fall romantically onto the bed next to him, and he, with the kind of last vestiges of his strength, reaches out and puts a hand over yours as the two of you fall into torpor. Certainly the rest of you, or Silas and Theodore, you have a slightly less romantic scenario. Your claymore does not hug you, but you obviously hug it, Silas.
Yep.
And it does give you some measure of comfort to feel that strength. And also to know that this terrifying figure, this bowman, who is actually, you realise, some kind of weird relative of yours, that you were able to make him recoil from you in some manner. And that does give you some solace, but it doesn't entirely shake that image of that single red eye staring at you, like something that could be fed upon as you fall into torpor. And Theodore, of course, you are frustrated. The darkness, which had served you so well and enabled you to toss him like a rag doll, was not quite up to it at the end. And that is frustrating. And you too will fall into torpor. So I imagine there is at least one scene we need to play between the Coterie the next evening.
Indeed.
Before we move into a slightly different time frame. So
I'm sorry.
Yeah, shoot. So if anyone wants to talk about, obviously make your rouse checks.
Mm-hmm.
Should it be relevant?
Are we regaining the willpower or anything like that, or are we not?
Not immediately. Okay. After this scene you will, but not immediately.
Oh boy.
Oh, I pass.
Oh, good. I'm nice and hungry to this conversation.
Me too.
This is gonna be amazing.
I just to say, I'm not engaging in this conversation until Gareth has gone home or left for the evening.
Yeah, that is exactly. Yeah. I would wake up, and immediately before even shaving or anything, I would go to Gareth's room and make arrangements for him to be taken to wherever he pleases. As staying here is not an option.
He will tell you that he needs to go and report to the Knights, so he will be being sent. He will get transport to go there because he has to tell them what he saw.
I will just check if he's okay in the not in the morning, in the evening when we get up.
He is.
But I'll stay far away from him. I'll check he's okay, from the door.
Yeah. Just as a quick check, you said you were very hungry, Velvet? How hungry are you?
Oh, I'm hungry 3.
Oh, okay.
It's okay, yeah.
It's fair to say Gareth seems quite keen to get out of here. But he will politely answer your requests, but he answers them in the manner of a man that is slightly nervous of offending his hosts. And he will happily accept transport to take him elsewhere. And he will go. And he will let you, he will say that he will report that you did your duty and so forth and protected him. And he will leave. And you're all happy with that?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. So anyone
and
that
then Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, Velvet, to you in particular, his relief when he finally leaves through the door is palpable.
Okay.
He kind of rushes out once his car has arrived.
Okay. I go from that interaction to the drink cabinet.
Excellent.
Yeah.
You will find Theodore there.
Then I don't go to the drink cabinet. I kind of get as far as there.
When you're coming your way.
Yeah, I'm coming towards you.
It's like, I believe we need to have a conversation, Silas, you and I.
Wait a minute. What about me? You and I need to have a conversation.
Silas, you and I. Yeah, but first there's something I gotta tell you. And I'm sure you think I know. This is difficult, Velvet. This is a very difficult conversation to have. I would rather have it only once. And then you and I can discuss things in private. But there's something you and Silas need to know.
All right. Say
So
what you
let
gotta
me-
say, and then we'll talk.
Let me go get him. And then I just go and get Silas.
So the three of you are gathered together in the Haven.
Probably in the conference room.
Yeah.
And Silas is still
This is-
anymore.
Now, this is likely to happen in the bar.
Yeah,
Which is in the living room, isn't it? I think.
The living room, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
Oh, do we still have visitors or the like other than Adam?
No,
No, Adam
Adam's
is
not
the only one in residence. Brick and Soap are not here at the moment.
Okay.
Adam lives here though.
Yes, Adam is.
Well, he's living here at the moment, so yes.
Yeah.
So
He's living here for good.
Yeah.
yeah. What?
So Adam is in the building, as are some, of course, your security people, but they're not here in this room. It's just the three of you.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And Silas is probably a bit away from the group. He is leaning on the claymore, just as he's seen Sir James lean.
Okay.
And his eyes are just on Theo.
There is distance between Velvet and Theo. I imagine will probably look to put Silas between him and Theo.
So there's something you both need to know. It became apparent last night. It's something I've kept from you and everybody else ever since I found out. Which is to say, after my embrace. I am... When I was taken to Oxfordshire, as you know, I was a ghoul of the Ventru, and I always thought that I was just going from ghoul to death of metal. That I found out the truth. And the reason I have not told you what the truth is, because for anyone else to know represents mortal danger for me, my bloodline, and especially Miyuki. Meliora, Isabel, and I would be definitely put to final death should the truth of this leave this room. And Miyuki will be discarded immediately without a second thought. So I would appreciate that, regardless of your personal feelings on the matter and how you feel about me for this, understand how delicate the situation is. Meliora is not the child of Sir Enolf von Bassenheim.
Well, who is she the child of then?
We do not know. She was forcibly embraced. And Sir Enolf took her and Isabel under his care and has been taking care of them ever since, lying to the other knights of Oxfordshire about their origin so their lives would be spared.
Why would he do that?
Because,
He doesn't seem like a real charitable guy to me.
well, this was some decades ago, perhaps, even longer. And And one of the reasons he looks the way he looks to you, as a hardly charitable guy, perhaps is related to how conflicted he must feel about what he's doing and how duplicitous this all is. Do you see where I'm going with this?
Sort of.
If he is found out, he will be put to final death as well.
Yes, everybody.
Well, he's just rocketed up in my estimation. But this is not the end of it, right? That's not.
No. No, it isn't. You cleverly figure it out. Because it would.
Your reflection.
It would have been really easy for Engel to do this with pretty much anyone else. Of any bloodline, even. Take a Malkavian in your ranks, and instead of faking them being your child, you'd probably talk to Sir Gansuk, right? And had we been Toreador, then the line of Thomas Delamore could have been invoked. However, we are not we do not belong to any of the clans of the Camarilla.
Script Titans on the Claymore.
Even though I have spent my whole on life amongst the Camarilla, especially the Camarilla of Oxfordshire, I am La Sombra. And the shadows live within me.
Was it you, Meliore? Is Takehisa's men?
Yes. It was my shadow and her mastery over it who managed to help defeat him.
That's why you didn't want me causing trouble when we first met?
No. I didn't want you causing trouble. Because you were a member of my coterie. When we met, I didn't know. I thought it was Ventru. When we did our trial to earn our coin for the Southern Gatekeeper, I believed myself to be Ventru. When we presented ourselves and gave our oaths, I gave my oath as a Ventru. It was a necessary precaution that Meliore and Isabel had to go through. Had I not been accepted, they couldn't risk me exposing them.
So, being a La Sombra, is there anything else other than Mastery of the Shadows that you can do?
What?
It is. I know very little about my clan. Very little. Actually, I know more about my clan from the time I spent fighting against it in Tokyo than what Meliore or Isabel could teach me, because they have also been separated from the clan ever since the inception. Ever since they could. Ever since Meliore could escape. Ever since Engel took them under his wing.
But Drogo didn't give a good goddamn about the Camarilla. Why not
No.
tell him the truth?
Because the La Sombra have been associated with the Sabbat for centuries. It would have been really easy for anyone to say they're not to be trusted. Their blood cannot be trusted. But if you ask me, even though I am La Sombra, I think it's the fact that Meliore, Isabel, and myself are refugees, after a fashion. It's the main reason that we are such a tightly knit bloodline. We're different from the rest of the Venture, even though we mingle with them and spend every waking moment. We live the Venture. Deviant.
No, it might not be deviant, but it is full of deviance.
Is that what I am to you?
No, it's not what you are. I mean, it is for sure the case that my actual blood has a far greater degree of deviance.
Folks. Can you just... Oh, my bad. Carry on.
It is for sure the case that my actual bloodline has a far greater degree of deviance and psychopathy in it than any of yours. So no, I don't think that about you. I'm shocked. That's all.
My clan does
and
not
I'm
define
angry
me.
because your argument in your context is so fucking reasonable.
I'm sorry, Velvet.
So now I can't even be mad at you. Because it's like we've been in the same situation this whole damn time.
Yes.
Except I poured my heart out to you and you didn't do that to me.
But you do understand why I couldn't. Not even Miyuki knows. Not even her. She cannot know, Velvet. She cannot know. She doesn't know Melissombra. She still believes she's the ghoul of Aventru.
What is your plan? I mean... Sorry.
No one can know. And no one better than you, Velvet. You do know how it feels and how it is to be unable to share those you love, who you truly are. That's why I always say my clan does not define me, my actions do. I am the same Theodore Penn. I'm not even using an alias for crying out loud. Theodore was the name I was given at birth, and I stopped using it in 1916. When I took my brother's name so I could join the military before being 18. And I became Clarence Penn, Ken, many names. And now, for once, in over a century, I can go back to be Theodore. And I have found friends, two true friends, allies that will have my back no matter what. And they can be safe in the knowledge that I will have theirs. And have the love of my life by my side. But I cannot say anything about who I am. It cannot be known.
You know, this is the problem that we should have been solving the last 10 years. You know I agree with you. You know that everything about what you're saying makes sense to me. And
Velvet, only the prince could potentially just wave this away. Yeah, there's an opening out there, but unless you fancy risking becoming
let's just
Prince
put Enolf in it, right? He can then solve this problem.
He's too far gone, Velvet. His mind is too far gone, and the rest of the knights know it. No one will support him.
You know what? He only needs to be prince long enough to do this, and then it doesn't matter if somebody kills him. That's a bonus, in my opinion. There has got to be a way to overcome this. There's got to be. I know exactly what you mean. Of course I do.
The only leverage I have for this is a major boon I hold over Sir Enolf. I don't have enough of political pull with the rest of the knights other than kind word that Sir William and I have exchanged throughout the years, but I doubt that would be enough for him to overlook the fact that I have been inviting him twice a year for tea ceremonies while I lied to his face about being a Ventru.
You know what? I wouldn't worry too much about that. People think lying is bad, but I think they got it wrong. It's absolutely necessary a lot of the time. It's often the best ethical outcome. Just we need to do something about this. We need to. I don't mean right now, but now that we know this, we can develop a strategy. One thing we have on our side is time, Theo. So we might not have control now over who becomes prince, but if it matters to us who is prince in the long term, then we can start that piece of work now.
I beg to differ on that last bit, Velvet. Why do you think I've been working so hard to mold the political climate of the city with your help and Silas? If not only to get rid of Helena, whom I generally believed was not fit to rule, but also to get everybody on board so we could pick a good prince that could lead us away from all the bad things that happened. But before we go into that, Silas, out of everything I've said, what are your thoughts?
Silas's grip just spins on the claymore. Picks up and just shoves the tip into the floor so it stands on its own.
Seriously, man, that is expensive flooring.
Oh, fix it. I want to be so fucking mad at you, Theo. And I'm fucking hungry right now. I want to be so fucking mad at you, but I get it. Every fucking word you said, I get it. And it's a whole load of shit we got. Because not only with all this, we got there's the hunting us now as well. And the political landscape fucking is sliding because we're likely gonna have people. Well, we may not, but we may have those others trying to come in from Reading, because there's gonna be a fucking exodus from Reading.
I don't get it. Why didn't you just help Helena when she asked you? Then she'd be alive and she'd owe you a favor and she'd be the goddamn prince.
Because I could not believe in Helena's word.
She was trying to become the prince because she's trying to fucking run from Reading.
Well, that might well be the case.
I trust on a desperate person even more. They are willing to say anything to save their hide. That doesn't mean that they will deliver. Velvet, I cannot risk it. Because if she owes me a favor and I try to cash it in, she can backhandedly say, you know what, by the way, the La Sombra are allowed. And my secret would be out there and anyone could go and get me for it. I cannot, if we are ever to be known as an individual clan, separate from the Sabbat, but also separate from the Ventru, it has to be in a climate that will allow no retribution to be taken. It makes no sense for everybody to know, and then us being killed in the shadows.
It has to be your clan that is core of founding the new Oxfordshire.
It has to be you or one of the three of you that does something that fits the parameters of what is necessary to become a knight, because that here is more important than your clan, right?
Why do you think I was so frustrated last night? I thought by killing the bowman, I would get a shot. I would get the renown. I just made him flee. That is not enough.
That wasn't you that made him flee, Theo. I think I told you that when Drogo was slain, something snapped inside me. I was able to bring to the fore willingly last night, as I did in the battle against fucking Ducky's minions. Motherfucker. Silas is pacing at this point.
So I understand that by telling you this, I put you at risk now. That is one of the many issues and one of the many reasons I didn't do it until tonight.
That's not an issue.
And I'm also aware that, as my bloodline is a founding bloodline of Oxfordshire, if it is found out, then it will be expected that I kill you.
Yes.
You know what, Silas? That is not going to happen. So don't worry yourself.
Don't worry about it, though. But there will be a line for our heads.
But you know what, Silas? If you're the one that comes on that day, it'll have to be the two of us you kill. So just bear that in mind. That's all I'm saying.
At that point, Silas does start chuckling because he knows full well there's nothing that we can do.
Listen, I have... This feels both troubling, but also deeply liberating.
I know that feeling well.
Now, I guess we'll just have to wait and see what the Knights of Oxfordshire make of Helena's failure. They will surely want her present tonight, so we can recount.
We will fix this. Theo, I promise you that. It might not be tonight, but we will work it out.
Thank you, brother.
Then I know you two are far more outliers than I am, but I'm going to make a suggestion that we have absolutely no secrets between the three of us. This is to go forward. Absolutely none.
Theodore steps towards Silas and just extends his hand.
Wait a minute. I can't. If we're not having any secrets between us, then I can't shake your hand right at this moment in time. So, but that is.
I'm not asking you to do it, Velvet. Don't worry about it.
Well,
this is the condition Silas is putting on me, and I'm agreeing. No more secrets from tonight on. At least not between you and me. And you, whenever you feel comfortable, Velvet. I would like to think that there is a point in the future where there will be absolutely no lies between the two of us.
it is not. It's not about trust.
I know. The fact that I didn't tell you this was not about trust either. I understand. I truly do.
All right.
So the two of you shake hands.
Yeah, Silas won't shake hands. He'll grab the wrist.
Okay.
As a scene like as of course.
It's like a pact.
It was all just a powerful shake. But is that probably dwarfing?
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Just
So you shake hands, and indeed, as you've suggested, you do have to go back and report, which we will not play as a scene. But suffice it to say, the mood of the knights, who of course have also heard from the boonkeeper, is that a trial was undertaken and it was failed. And they're not particularly surprised to hear this. One might say some seem vaguely pleased to hear it. But that seems in some ways to settle that. And Oxfordshire goes into an oddly quiet time. You'll be aware, some of you who are kind of plugged into the politics, that there are various discussions going on behind closed doors. There is a sort of waiting game, wondering if anyone else will be foisted upon the city or will turn up trying to claim dominion. But certainly for the next few weeks that start to spin forward, no one does. You will be aware that, of course, it wasn't just Helena who was going to be trying to get into Oxfordshire. It was also other kindred from Reading. However, when Helena fails her trial, the other kindred from Reading, with very few exceptions, do not push to become members of the domain. One of the only exceptions to that is Brona Hughes, who will commence that path into getting in.
Can I support that?
You certainly can. You certainly can. Now, it's worth
she's
saying
Brick's
that
friend.
some of you have some people you want to speak to that is going to kind of take place at various points kind of over the next few months in some cases. So I want to spin forward to those, but I just wanted to give you a little bit of a feel. There is one other major event that does occur kind of outside of Oxfordshire, but the ripples of it will hit the city. And that is that Clan Brugha and Clan Gangrel declare themselves anarch and no longer part of the Camarilla. And this causes a schism within those clans, some of which stay within the Camarilla and some which don't. Of course, Oxfordshire is still currently without a prince, which also makes things very complicated. From the outside, in some ways, very little changes. The major difference is none of the Brugha declare themselves, unless Silas is going to surprise me, as anarch at this point. And the only Gangrel that does is the Northern Gatekeeper. But in Oxfordshire terms, if you're a citizen of Oxfordshire, that is way more important than whether you're part of the Camarilla or the Anarchs. And so providing she does her duty, at least until there is a Camarilla prince in charge, nobody makes a big fuss about it. But Velvet, you will become aware that there are Anarchs in the city. Amongst them is Brick and Brona, and they will be taking up residence in the north. But they continue to serve the city as is. It's an odd thing because most people don't comment on it, but those who do care about such politics, it does become a very quiet issue behind the scenes. However, for you, your duties carry on pretty much as was. So I want to spin forward to a few scenes. First one is going to be a few months down the line. So coming up right at the end of the year, and will be between Adam and Velvet. Because Velvet, my understanding is that you have been deliberately not drinking Adam's sweet blood. And because
letting him drink mine, for that matter.
And because you are obviously cruel, you're not letting him drink yours either, despite the fact he's very keen to do so.
Yes.
And over this period of time, that kind of drive, that pull of the blood gets weaker. And there comes a night where, to Velvet, you feel as if it is no longer a massive deal. The memories of it, however, remain vivid. The taste of it, though it's hard to recall in clarity, you can recall that the experience was exquisite. Especially in those moments where he fed from you at the same time, when you got the rush of his blood at the same time as the experience of his kiss. That is something that's very hard to shake off from your mind. But in terms of that supernatural pull, that need to have his approval, that need for him to be happy, that has settled into what might be an ordinary set of emotions for a married couple. Still relatively early in their marriage.
Well, for vampires, for sure.
Yes, indeed. So I understand you want to talk to Adam. So where would you like this to happen? It can be in a place of your choosing.
Well, if we still live in the Haven, which I assume we do.
I assume you do too.
Depending on if we put Barnaby out of the flat.
Yeah, Barnaby is still pastured with his mother.
Yeah. So this is probably in our bedroom. So I'll go. I'll find him, or I'll ask to talk to him.
Yeah, I mean, he will, of course, talk to you.
And I'll say, You remember back when I first told you that I wanted to stop sharing blood with you. I told you that I thought it would change how we felt.
Yes, I remember. Of course, I remember. I didn't fully agree with you, but I remember, and I've stuck to what you asked.
How do you feel about it now?
Well,
You feel different?
I suppose it's like anything you haven't done in a while. It's harder to remember. I feel sad that we're not close in that way anymore. But I don't want to force it on you if you don't want us to.
What I wanted was for us to decide whether to do this without the influence of that pull. And I don't. Sorry.
I don't feel any different, Velvet. I don't need the blood to want to be with you. I never did. You're not 100% sure that's true, Velvet? Like, it's pretty convincing, but it's not.
Okay.
It doesn't land quite as well as you think it should.
I'll say, no, I didn't need it either. But it created a different kind of drive.
I've never experienced anything like it. I mean, before or since.
I came to talk to you because I feel differently. It's not. I love you, of course. I love you with all my heart, but there is not the urgency of that need anymore. And I wanted us to decide together whether that is something that we want back or whether it's for the best that is gone. But if you don't feel that difference, then I don't know what to think about that.
What if we had a compromise? What if we stay as we are, but maybe on our anniversary we do it then, just once a year? I don't see. I know you don't want it to define us, but I don't see why we can't at least share that together in the future.
I don't want to do anything that puts us in danger. Last time it got out of control and it put us in danger.
Did it? I thought the only danger came from Wallace and Seth.
Well, that was part of their beef, Adam. He figured that out.
But who cares? I don't care what they think, what they judge. I care about what you think, Velvet. I only care about them when they're here, and they're not here anymore. Are they?
No, they're not here.
Then we're free, aren't we?
We are. But
free to do whatever we want. And then he'll kiss you to make the point.
Well, that rather makes the point. Um, okay. Well, I will kiss him back.
He seems pleased with this development.
And I'll say, all right. It's a good compromise. And it should be safe.
He'll smile at you and say, we're always safe when we're together. It's other people that make us unsafe.
That's all I've ever wanted, was for us to be left alone. That's why I'm nervous. I don't want to do anything that might upset that. We have that now, right? Nobody's bothered. And I wanted to ask you something else.
Yes.
All of this trouble that we've had in our life together, it's all been because of how this world works. It's all been because they have all of the power and they have all of the resources and they are going to live forever, so there is nothing for us. There's no place for us. And I don't think, Adam, that I can just stand by and let that happen anymore.
Well, now you're making me nervous. What are you thinking of doing?
There are a lot of people who agree with this point of view. They're just not, they're not in the Camarilla.
Oh, you're talking about Jasmine
Adam,
and her move.
right. But Adam, you've lectured your whole life in business ethics, right? You understand that there is no equity here. There is no parity, and there's never going to be. Not unless some people stand up and say something about it. And if she is doing that, and other people...
I have to be careful, Velvet, because my sire is under Rafe's protection, and Rafe is strongly in support of the Camarilla. If I openly support the Anarchs, I don't know what he would do.
All right.
I'm not sure what he would do if you openly supported the Anarchs. I don't know about Meliore or Isabel. They've never been vocal one way or the other. They always seem more Oxford focused, like most people. But Sir Rafe, I know Sir Enolf is very opposed to the Sabbat, but I don't think he cares much for the Camarilla. But Sir Rafe, he does. I know that.
Of course they care, Adam. It's their power structure, right? If they don't have that, there isn't anything to... Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm not...
If you want to do this, I mean, it will worry me, but I'd stand by you. But I don't think I'd dare declare myself. I think it would put me and my sire in jeopardy.
All right. I understand.
I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry.
If I could, I would. It's just him. I know what he's like.
I'm not going to do anything that puts you in danger. And if this You're right about Rafe. It means I need a different approach, one that's not a public one.
Yes, I think we just be careful so we can enjoy this a bit longer. A lot longer.
Forever.
Forever.
You're going nowhere.
I'm going nowhere, Velvet.
All right. So I think
that. Oh, sorry.
Yes.
Did you want to?
Oh well, I was just going to kiss him.
Sure. So we will leave these two kissing. I'm going to move to a very brief break. Obviously, we've lost a bit of time this session due to technical excitements. But I do want to have a very brief break. And before we kind of switch out, there are a couple of things to say. So I'm going to pass over to Carlos briefly.
So yeah, I just wanted to give a massive shout out to everybody working behind the scenes of the Blood on the Severn pre-production. And there are some exciting developments, and we're doing everything in our power to bring the best to all of you. So thanks to the team. You rock. You're amazing. I don't deserve you, but please don't leave me. I love you.
You are all amazing.
Yeah.
They are.
So we have a couple of giveaways to discuss, one of which is, of course, the Herald's coin. Some might say the very coin that Helena has not earned, which looks a lot like this. So obviously to win it, you just have to support us. But if you hang around to the end of this episode and you're one of our supporters, you will find out if you win. We also have a giveaway for these fabulous stickers created by the lovely Cedar. And if you would like to win these, you have to answer a question if you're watching us live. And then the answers will be sorted out by our algorithm, and then I will announce the winner of that also at the end of the episode.
I wonder if it went for my question.
The question this week is, if Mitch was embraced by a vampire, what clan would that vampire be? So if Mitch was embraced by a vampire, what clan would that vampire be?
That was not the question I proposed.
No, there was a separate question proposed.
There's only one right answer to this, people.
Yes.
I tell you what, we will put the other question to chat, but it's not a prize-winning one. But if you've got a funny answer, I'd obviously like to hear it. And that question, Carlos wanted us to ask, who's the daddy?
Who's your daddy?
Who's your daddy?
Obviously.
I decided that I would ask the other question instead because I'm fickle.
Because you're boring.
Fickle.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
So yes, we at the end of the episode will announce the winners and also sob over our microphones and that kind of business. But we will do that at the end. So I'm going to take a short break to be back by 9:10. I'm going to endeavour to finish as close to 10 as I can, but I make no promises because this is the last episode, so we might run slightly over. Apologies for that. But yes, please do join us at 9:10 for the second and last half of Blood on the Tamesis. 2 of Season 3, Episode 10 of Blood on the Tamesis. Now, just before we jump back into play, there is one other thing that I wanted to talk to you about, which is, although this is the kind of conclusion of the Tamesis Chronicle, it is not quite the end. So next week, we're going to do a special episode, which is going to be, because it doesn't yet have a super good title, it's going to be Mitch and Me in the House. And we are going to be doing a sort of, a kind of a conversation, really, because there have been 2 storytellers involved in this. Obviously, me that you see, but also behind the scenes, lurking like a well-groomed shadow, is Mitch. Next week, we are going to have a special interactive session where Mitch and I will be here talking about the Chronicle, answering any questions that you have, and also doing a few kind of fun things as we go. So although this is the last episode tonight, we will have a little bit of Tamesis love left for you next week. So do please join us for that. So we had just left Velvet and Adam in a relatively sweet, romantic position. And We're going to jump over. So these scenes are not happening in the same night. They're just kind of happening roughly in the same time period at the end of this year, which is 2012. So the next scene I want to jump to is a scene between Silas and Jenny. Now, the last time that Silas and Jenny had met, Silas offered her two options, I believe, that were available to her. That she could kind of say goodbye to him all over again, or she could give up everything to join him in this somewhat vague proposition that he had put forward. And she said she wanted more time. But yes, there will come a point where you will meet again. Is Silas trying to arrange that anywhere in particular?
It's going to be in somewhere between Oxford and London, likely with no one around. So there's no one within. So basically, it's almost like in the middle of nowhere.
So you want to have it somewhere private. When you say in the middle, do you mean like you're going to meet her outside in a field, or do you mean you're going to book a room somewhere, or what sort of
outside in the field?
Okay. So it's fair to say Jenny looks a little bit like unsettled by the fact you're meeting outside in a field in the middle of the night. Out in the middle of nowhere. But she will join you. She will look a bit cold. And she will have a torch. She looks vaguely dressed for the weather, but not brilliantly dressed. And she will kind of peer into the darkness as you make your way over to her. She says, Silas? Silas, is that you?
I'm here.
I think... She looks around. I thought maybe you were joking.
No.
So, I've got some questions for you. You said last time we spoke that you're not the way you used to be.
No.
You said that your body doesn't... Well, you said that things don't hurt you as much as they used to.
No.
And you said, well, that you're not getting old the way the rest of us are.
No.
If I come with you, will that be true for me as well?
Not in the same way as I am, because there are things that will need to be put into motion that I can't put in until you're ready. But they will take time.
How long?
We're talking a decade, but during that time,
A decade? No, that's no good, Silas. I can't.
You will not age that time.
Wait. I won't age during that time?
No.
Silas, you could be you could be a trillionaire. People would pay anything for this. Anything.
Silas pulls out a photo. That's what they send after us, and shows the photo of the harpoon weapon.
She looks alarmed.
They won't pay for it. They take us.
You're telling me that you have a way to make it that I won't age?
Yes.
For how long? How long do you not age for?
Forever.
She looks at you for a long time, like she's trying to see if you're just winding her up or something. I assume you are trying to be persuasive. Are you using presence, or are you just...
If she's looking confused by that, that's us. We'll go. Also, other things are capable. Then he's going to soaringly over, do a couple of... It's very obvious, throwing a few flips and land directly behind her.
Okay.
Bang.
So you leap superhumanly high into you sail over her head, vaulting, almost as if you were back in one of your TV shows, to land behind her, and she jumps and spins around and looks amazed. She says, this is incredible. Hang on a minute. She goes and shines her torch where you were standing, and she puts her boot on the grass, like she's checking to see if there's anything there. And then she goes over to where you're standing and like shines her torch there. She says, this is real, isn't it? This isn't special effects.
No. There's no special effects.
She looks thoughtful for a long time. Okay. So you're saying that if I go with you, I won't age anymore and I'll be able... She looks up and then looks down at you again. I'll be able to do things like that.
In time. You may do other things.
Okay. I'm in. I want to make sure it's really true, but I'm in.
Sounds good. Just so you're aware of how this started with me. Do you remember Robert Sherman?
She kind of blinks a few times. She says, yeah, of course I remember him.
You remember when I saved him from that car wreck?
Yeah, I remember. It was all over the papers at the time.
That was the first time that I met the one who changed me whilst I was recovering in hospital.
So there's someone else out there who isn't getting older either?
There are many others. That's why I said when I showed you that photo that they hunt us. There are many more. Much older, much more powerful.
This is like proper conspiracy theory, you know?
It is. So, come closer.
She'll come closer.
There's that. See these teeth here? Check them.
Okay, she will examine. She'll look a bit puzzled, but she'll shine the light on your mouth and she'll lean and look.
Yep. Touch them. Gone.
You sure? Okay.
Yep.
She'll touch your teeth.
So you are sure?
You'll feel her fingers on your teeth. Now, I'm assuming that Silas, because obviously this is forward ahead in time, I'm assuming Silas is well fed before he came out for this.
Oh, he's very well fed.
So you don't, you're completely in control of yourself. But to have mortal blood, basically a membrane of skin away from your fangs, it still tickles. Like there's still that urge. But you can handle it. But yes, she feels your teeth.
So there's nothing there?
She says, well, there are teeth there.
Fangs slowly lower.
She will, of course, freak out and jump back. She goes, oh, shit. She looks very, very alarmed, and she backs away quite significantly from you.
And they slowly withdraw.
She says, is that why you don't age?
Yes.
Is that what you do to me?
I would never feed on you. Not unless you ask me to.
She raises her eyebrows. I don't know, Silas. I don't know what to say. Is it a good life?
It's a massive change from before, but I've been the protector of the city.
Do you think I would like it?
I certainly think you would. You would have pull in arrows that I could not. You could swing many things that I can't.
Okay. Okay. I'm interested.
I will need permission from those stronger than me to do this full transformation. So it's a different kind of path that you would have to take on this night.
Well, tell me, what do you mean I have to just wait?
You will have to drink from me.
Drink what? There's a long pause, and then she goes, "Oh, shit. Really?"
Silas will, from his holsters, flick out one of the concealed blades he keeps and spins it around so he's holding the blade.
So when you flick out the knife, she, again, jerks in surprise. She's not used to people whipping knives out around her. But yes, you have the knife.
And offer the hilt to her.
She says, "You want me to cut you?" I don't know, Silas. That seems wrong.
Do you want me to do the... It won't hurt. I've had a sword that goes straight through my chest, Jenny. A little cut's not going to hurt.
Okay. So she'll take the knife.
Tell her who did that to you.
She will cut your arm. And she will be shining the torch on it and looking very puzzled because, of course, the blood doesn't gush from the wound. Unless, have you got Blush of Life up, actually? I assume you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't worry about browsing for it. So we were in a scene with Silas and Jenny, and Silas had just fed her some of his blood. And I was just saying, Silas, that it's your intention to turn her into a ghoul over the coming nights. Now, you will know you do not need permission from anyone to do this, but you will also know that she is your responsibility. So should she breach the masquerade or in other ways embarrass anybody, then it will be on your head.
So it's as she moves away, Silas will heal the wound.
Oh, what, so she can see it?
Yeah.
So she will be shocked, but you will notice there is a difference in her already. In that she is shocked, but she is also intrigued. She shines the light and leans in and watches as your flesh heals and looks amazed, but you can see her mind is already starting to kind of work out the possibilities. And she will, stay with you for however long you want.
And so will basically just tell her the whole truth from the story from start to end out. And he won't fill in his information from his arc. He's not going to fill all the capabilities of the Velvet and all that, but it's just it's kind of like his story,
so
how it's.
You begin to tell her how deep the rabbit hole goes, and over subsequent nights and weeks, you will give her your blood again. And there will come a time where the bond between you will form. And of course, each time you give her your blood, she becomes that little bit less freaked out about everything and begins to get more excited about this kind of potential future life. And she has many ideas about possibilities. She thinks it will extend her career by some years, which she's very excited about.
It's very constant that you need to start thinking about moving on, just as Finn was.
she will be, of course, in agreement with you. In fact, you'll find she agrees with you a lot, but she will be saying, yeah, but I mean,
Great, isn't it,
obviously I can do a
Silas?
few years, right? So it's just worth saying that the point at which you bond her fully to yourself and you turn her into a ghoul, there will be an element to which Silas has misgivings on a deep level, even if he doesn't on another level. And you will take a number of stains for this, because you are effectively corrupting your touchstone. So you will take 6 stains.
Oh.
You might ask why, and it's because your touchstone represents the ideal of never betraying a friend. And when you corrupt their soul as their friend,
Oh my god.
that's a pretty big deal.
Oh my god.
Yep.
Incidentally, you get stains for ghouling someone at the best of times, but ghouling your touchstone, and also where it's a friend-related one, I'm not sure you can corrupt a soul without it being betrayal. You know, that's kind of my take on it. So that will happen.
That's peak vampiric behaviour, though. Silas.
It's perfect. I love it as vampiric behaviour. It's brilliant. And while Silas will have misgivings, you do then have the advantage that Jenny becomes another part of your life again. And she also is very much on your side. And the good thing about Jenny is she's quite socially able. She's quick on the uptake. And she's good at taking on different roles as required. So she has many, many applications as a ghoul, which Silas will get to enjoy in future years. So I want to jump to another scene which happens in the future, will happen actually in 2013. And this, we have a sort of a blood-themed set of epilogue scenes going on at the moment. This scene is around Theodore. Now, over several months, Theodore has been slowly making it that instead of him giving his blood to Miyuki, different kindred have been doing that. And the effect of this is, of course, she still enjoys the benefits of being a ghoul. She's not aging. She can still recover from injuries much more quickly. But she is not bound to the way, in the way that she was to Theodore. And it takes a long time because the bond between them was long and deep. However, there will come a point where Theodore will feel that it is safe to speak to her once more. So my question to you, as I ask the others, is where would you like this scene to take place, Theodore? Because you very much have control over that.
In our personal haven, in our castle,
Okay.
in our house.
Yes, not in the group haven, but in your secret little haven, your little castle for 2. Okay.
And I show up with flowers and strawberries.
You are armed and ready for this.
I mean, I'm following the advice of the best wingman ever, my friend Velvet.
Got it.
So Miyuki, of course, will greet you and will be her usual perfectly mannered self. She will be delighted by the flowers and the strawberries. But she knows you well enough to know that there is something in this meeting. And she knows, of course, that she's been feeding differently for a time. She doesn't say anything about it. She just sits with you and waits, for you to be ready for whatever it is you want to do.
Hi, Miyuki.
Ken-san.
How have you been feeling?
She says, I am well, Ken-san. I am glad to be in our home again. It is much nicer here. And these flowers are lovely. And I'm glad that we are free of Naoto. Forever.
Yes, indeed, for good. I'm also glad that I have been able to fulfill a promise I made to you over 12 years ago.
As am I, Ken-san. As am I.
Yes. Just want to know, how do you feel about us? About everything, about this life, about the way I have treated you. I've done my best. And you know full well my feelings for you, but we agreed that we would have these conversations when you're not on my blood, when you can speak freely and be yourself.
You have been very kind to me over the years. I know that it does not always have to be that way. You know that too. But you have been kind, and you have cared for me when you did not have to. And I know it was not easy to bring us to this point. And I recognize the hard work that you have done to make this so. Do you remember when we both used to serve? You,
Yes.
Lord Amargo, and me, Naoto. And there were many difficult times I remember from those days. But I also remember the mornings, the dawn, when it was just us. When you would creep in like a thief. And we would forget them for a time. Before breakfast even, before we would begin our day, we would have time when it was just us. And we had our true faces. I know that those were difficult times, but we were equal in those times. And I miss them.
I miss them too. And now we're truly free. Free from them.
I would like it if one day we could be equals again.
Is that your desire?
Yes, but I have a question. Ken-san.
Yes. Ask.
I know that when you were made kindred, it changed you. And sometimes I am scared by that change. I'm ashamed to say so.
No, don't be. It is one of the reasons, Miyuki, that feels unnerving. It's because for a very long time I had struggled myself to come to terms with who I really am. There are many things of our world that I have to keep from you, to keep you safe. Some because I must, most because I want to keep you safe. Because you're everything to me. And it was not until recently that I came to terms with who I am, with what I am.
So when you compliment her in that way, she kind of averts her face a little bit from the compliment, but smiles. You catch the smile from it. And then she looks back at you and says, sometimes, she says, it seems as if something is lost when you are elevated.
Yes.
And I worry what I would lose if you elevated me.
Well, the embrace provides many benefits. It's only logical that there is a price to pay. And I understand that your question must be, is it too high a price?
She nods.
Or are you willing to pay it? To be elevated is to have the benefit of time without the ties of the blood, with your own mind to keep. It also comes with power, undoubtedly so. I believe I lost a small fraction of my soul, but it's not a part of my soul that I wanted to keep around me. It's that part that was still tormented by what happened in the concentration camp. It was the part of my soul who hated Naoto. It was the part of my soul who made me less.
If I was elevated, could I let go of the part of my soul that hates Naoto and what was done to me?
You will remember it. You will not forget it. And when I say I lost it, it's not that it departed. It is just a part of my soul that is there, lurking in the shadows, looking at me. But now I can look at it straight back in the eye. Sometimes it's taken a hold of me. You have seen me very few times, but you have seen me lose myself to the rage.
She nods. It's well hidden, but you know that it makes her nervous.
That is present in all of us. But I've also been able to channel it. I could channel it to defeat Takahisa. I could channel it to scare Naoto as if he were living and would pee himself. One night that he asked, what kimono should he buy to give you when he brings you back to Japan? I just channeled that anger and let him have a good look at it. He never spoke of it again. I've been ashamed and at odds with that darkness within me. And that's why you feel it unnerving, because it is a darkness. And I've been shying away from it because I too was scared of it. But now I realize it is just a part of me that's always been there. And just as now I can do things I couldn't do with my mortal body, my emotions are also immortal. And I have to learn to deal with them, to live with them. Something that has not changed is my love for you. If only it has grown stronger. And it has filled me with hope and joy to have this conversation and hear that you wish to become one of us. So you're not only free, but also we could be together as we once were.
She says, that is what I want. I want to be truly with you as an equal, Ken-san.
You have never been less, no matter what the others say.
She's kind of pleased by that comment, but in a just that's a nice thing to say rather than I completely buy it.
If not, I mean, Velvet is fully aware that I fear your wrath. Sarutobi-chan. And I poke her in the little monkey. poke her in the nose.
So she doesn't respond as she normally would. Normally she's very cute about this kind of thing. And it's kind of the thing, it's a little game you have together. But she actually looks very serious and says, she says, I want you to be my equal. And if you fear my wrath, if you have made me wrathful, to really fear it.
I have never feared for my body coming to harm. But make no mistake, Yuki. I am fearful of your wrath, because it's my love, the one you hold in your hands. And that is more powerful than anyone can ever have over me. That's more power than Isabel or the prince when he was alive.
And so it should be, she says, and then she'll boop you on the nose. As if to say, okay, all right.
I will make my best to make you my truly my equal. But in order for that to happen, I cannot be the one who embraces you. Because if I am, then we forever will be sire and child. If that is the connection you want us to have, to be connected at a deeper level where your blood flows through my veins after all the years I've had your blood in me, then I will agree.
She takes all of that in and says, I think it would be good between us if it were not one over the other. I would rather stand at your side.
And you will. It'll take time. And I will need to talk to Isabel about this.
We have time, Ken-san, and I can be very patient when I want to be.
And at that, Theodore is going to approach her. He's going to cup her face in his hands and says, I don't deserve you, but you already knew that. And I gave her a kiss.
So, yes, she'll kiss you, and it is a nice moment.
Yep.
So I'm going to pause that scene there and just move forward a little bit because there's a few other things I'd like to cover. As I say, this session might go slightly over 10, but we'll see how we go. One of the things that will occur this kind of following year is there will be a court convened. It is still, Oxfordshire, I should say, has not yet chosen a new prince. You will be aware that there are arrangements being made for Prince Drogo's to have like a proper service. Silas, you will have heard rumours in this time that some of the Reading kindred, not the ones who settled in Oxfordshire, not the ones who've gone through the process, but those who are, shall we say, dwelling on the fringes, who have not yet found a home, have started to disappear. But this court has been convened by Sir Enolf. And what will strike you when he calls this court is that he is dressed from head to toe in armour, and that he will ride into court on a horse, which is pretty out there. It doesn't normally happen.
What a way to make an entrance, right?
So
yeah, well, that's a way to make a dramatic entrance.
So he makes this entrance once people have assembled for the court, and he doesn't ride right into the middle. He just kind of rides into the entranceway. And essentially what he says is, my grandsire, Volis is dead to me. He says, and you, and he points his finger at Sir Rafe. He says, will battle for your honor outside now.
Oh, I'm glad I came to court today.
Fuck.
And Rafe says, sire, please let us. And he says, enough now. And Rafe leaves. And Sir Ranulph turns his horse and goes outside.
I go outside to watch this.
yeah.
I hold Isabel's hand and go, what the fuck, in the most Theodore way.
So this causes a great deal of excitement amongst the knights, who will go out because they love a good duel. There is lots of gossip and discussion and confusion and things going on. But essentially, Enolf will very loudly say to the assembled, says, I gave Sir Rafer the greatest gift one can give, and education, and he repays me with treachery. It was his desire to take my blood for himself. And now, if he wishes it so badly, he will have it here, or I will have his on this floor. So Rafe makes a kind of a half-hearted attempt to really not have this duel here, and maybe we could talk about this somewhere else, or maybe whatever, and Enolf will have none of it. And what shortly follows is a joust.
Ooh.
The joust is not long.
No.
Essentially, what happens is the two ride at each other at some speed. Rafe is not bad, you will note. He knows how to handle a horse. Indeed, you will know just how cool his horse is. However, Sir Enolf's horse is not afraid of Rafe's horse, not even slightly. And although Rafe does strike Enolf true, the lance just simply shatters, whereas Enolf's lance runs Rafe through and takes him off the horse. And as soon as he is unhorsed, Enolf will pull his own horse to a stop. He will get off the horse. He will loudly declare, he says, this man is not a knight. He is not my child. He is a traitor. He says, does any contest this? And he looks around. Nobody, well, I'm assuming less Silas, Theodore, Velvet.
Fucking no.
Nobody contests
What?
No
this.
way.
I have my pom-poms.
Um,
Team Enolf, you know?
so Rafe
If he
gives...
This
dies,
is
I
like a
give my
complete
boon.
set for me, so I'm fine.
So
I
Rafe,
don't want to lose my boon.
Rafe meets final death that night.
Woohoo.
And Enolf will say a little bit later, it seems that line I have some questions over. He says, but he looks at Meliore. He says, I will give you more proper station in future. Meliore seems delighted. Yes. So there is one other thing. Obviously, players, if there is anything, I know some of your secondary scenes might be relevant here, but it's worth saying that Enolf will approach you, Velvet, that night before he leaves.
Okay. I mean,
He's still wearing
obviously,
armor, but he's not on his
talk to him.
horse.
Okay.
He says, Velvet, I've been thinking
Yes, sir.
that my child and grandchild have failed me. But you have been true. Your advice has been good. And so, I give you back the Riley family. They are yours to control. Volis did not deserve them.
Thank you, sir. I'm very grateful to you for that.
I will have the ghouls speak to you, and you may do with them as you see fit. but sees that they are successful still.
I will do that, sir. I will hold you down.
I know this, for you are driven by love. Love is greater than all.
It isn't that, sir.
And then he'll leave. He'll get on his horse and he'll fuck off. Unless anyone else wants to talk to him.
Not a fucking chance.
Nope.
Theodore is going to be doing all of his political movements to see who gets, like, whomever sits at the prince's chair is the most likely to receive well the news of being La Sombra or help with the La Sombra. So he's just going to be in his maneuvering.
So you will be aware that there is a build-up to some kind of announcement or something being said going on. And there seems like some kind of negotiation that is going on, principally between Sir Marta and Sir William, and that it's not yet reached a conclusion. You will also be aware that Sir James has kind of withdrawn from politics. And when Drogo's kind of ceremony has happened, the word kind of gets out that he has gone somewhere within Oxfordshire to sleep under the earth, but that should Oxfordshire ever need him, he will return to deliver whatever needs delivering. It is worth saying that another court eventually will convene. One which you think is to announce this kind of more momentous news of what is going to happen with the future of Oxfordshire. Is there anything I should know before we jump into this?
Have I made any leeway into either A, getting people on board as possible to get the political decision I meet? B, I will start investigating everything with the disappearances because I think he's a bowman.
Sure.
But that is for the future.
Sure. So you will work on those investigations. You do know you've had some success politically persuading things, and you're feeling moderately confident about this. So this court eventually arrives, and you are all kind of gathered together. And in some ways, it is striking to you that many people, of course, are not here. The Ventre in particular, I mean, from when you very first came to Oxfordshire, of course, the Ventre in particular seem much reduced. Rafe, Seth, Wallace are gone. And, that's quite a striking thing. And many other kindred have also left the city, at various points.
The Toreador.
Is Rupert effectively in charge of us now, then?
No.
No, Meliore is.
Oh, Meliore, excellent. That's much better.
So Enolf is technically in charge, but,
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Meliore
On a day-to-day basis.
She is the senior
Meliore runs the clan.
Yeah.
Who is kind of proactive in things. Ventre. So the herald will, of course, open the court. And he says, welcome to Oxfordshire once more, all of you. There have been many comings and goings and changes, and as a result of this, there is some exciting news that I would share with you, as is my honor, for I will be remaining in this position as I have for many, many a year. First, then perhaps of most paramount importance, I would have you welcome our Prince, William, child of Drogo.
Yeah.
It is fitting, is it not, that a founding knight take on the position, and indeed that the blood of Drogo's line continue to guide our domain to greatness. And various people will show their appreciation, will kneel, and that kind of thing.
Yeah, include me in the kneeling people.
I do what's required.
Yep.
You go through the motions, Velvet.
Yeah.
Theodore probably has all, to exhaustion, sang the praises of William as a very sensible man that listens to reason. So that's why he likes him.
And the herald will say, and now I must come to a sadder piece of news. I am sorry to say that Alistair, eldest of the Toreador to remain in Oxfordshire, has met final death, and after much investigation was discovered that his death came at the hands of Sir Francis. And as such, Sir Francis has been stripped of her knighthood and currently awaits the prince's justice. For those who are concerned, you should be assured that she sleeps and is a threat to no one at this time. Of course, that puts us in need of a new scourge, and I am honoured to be able to introduce Sir Marta of Clan Ruya, who will be stepping into that role.
Whoa.
And also welcomed as the new heart of Oxfordshire, as was the wish of Sir Thomas when he left. And as the herald is saying that, Sir Marta actually steps forward. And you realise there's that moment where the herald pauses just long enough for you to get the sense that maybe this hasn't been scripted. She carries with her a large sack that clanks. And she very much makes a point of stepping in front of the herald, like, fuck off, this is my space now. Which he kind of does, but just slightly slower than, would be entirely polite. But she ignores him. You will see she is not wearing the gauntlets that she normally wears. And you'll see she is wearing a ring on her finger. Silas, you'll recognise this. She will say, this ring was a gift from Prince Drogo to Sir Thomas. He called him the heart of Oxfordshire. And when he left, his bloodline decided that I was the one that should have it. That I would be the heart of Oxfordshire. That I would represent the best of this domain. And I told them that if they gave it to me, when they tested me, that I would do with it as I saw fit, and that I may not do what they would like. And they accepted that, and they gave it to me anyway. She takes the ring from her finger and drops it on the floor in front of her, and it rings out as it hits the floor. She says, I think that's madness to have a heart of Oxfordshire. And then she takes the sack and she upends it. And a flurry of rings of the same colour and metal, gold, fall from the sack and bounce and ring out around the one that she originally dropped. She says, for I believe that we are all the heart of Oxfordshire. I believe it is the responsibility of every one of us to hold the oath and hold everyone else to account. So I say to you, if you are a true citizen of Oxfordshire, then pick it up. Perhaps you will take the true ring, perhaps you won't. In my eyes, it does not matter.
I step forward and grab one.
Okay. There's this thing where there's that brief pause, right? And then one person goes forward and then everybody kind of goes forward. So when it is finished, all of the rings have gone from the floor. And Marta says, from now on, when someone swears and is accepted as a true citizen, he says, then they will gain one of these rings and join us in a true brotherhood. For that is how it should be. So after that, William will say a few words, but essentially the court will settle into a more relaxed state. And it seems that that kind of holding of breath of how Oxfordshire will be begins to feel more comfortable. And then partway through that court, the herald will say, "There is another great change that we must speak of. If you
gently.
lend your ear to the prince." William will say, "It has long been held that Clan Tremere were not to be trusted. Indeed, there have been times where they have not behaved with honour. Nevertheless, there are some Tremere that have served this city for a long time, and indeed some Tremere that have aided us in times of need. And it is my feeling that no matter your clan, your service is what is most important. And so, just as the Toreador have been restored in our eyes, now too will Clan Tremere. And as is the way with that clan, it is appropriate for them to have a regent who will manage their matters whilst they are with us. And that regent is known to you. Her name is Cheng Li. And Cheng Li will be recognised as the regent of Oxfordshire. So there's a couple of last little things that I want to do before we kind of wrap this up. One of them is that Finn will find you, Silas. And he says, "All right there, Silas."
Doing good. You?
Oh, glad to hear it, yes. So, Sir Marta asked me if I thought you were ready to be her hound. You know, now she's scourge and all that. Do you know what I said?
Yes.
I said, no, not yet. I said, you're not ready. You've not got the spine for it. What is this all being polite to people when we're trying to get some sense into them? But what I also told her was that you would be ready in the next 20 years. So you and I have got our work cut out for us.
Are you one of the hounds now?
Might be. Aye. I might be at that. So you're
There's
ready
more
to
than
get to
one
work?
There's more than one way to skin a cat, Finn.
That there is. That there is. Now, come with me. I've got some things to show you. And he will take you away to begin your training to become a hound of the scourge for the future.
Yeah.
Theodore, in that same court, William will come to speak with you. But away from the others. It's a private meeting when the court is done.
Okay.
And he says, whilst I cannot say anything publicly, Theodore, I wanted to let you know that I have noticed your service to the city and that I am sympathetic to your situation, such as it is. And I would reassure you that whatever happens, it is always service to Oxfordshire that counts most to me. He says, and in recognition of actions that you took when I had to stay my hand in order to present a certain face to the Camarilla, I have a gift for you. I trust that you will appreciate it.
Like bow.
He says, I will confess in advance I did employ Miyuki's assistance for some of the details. And one of his ghouls will present you with a crest. It's a crest of a tiger standing with scepter and blade crossed behind them. But there is something about the nature of the crown that will strike Theodore as significant.
How long have you known, sire?
He says, long enough, Theodore. Long enough. He says, there are changes coming. Trust me. Be patient, and your way will be easier.
What does this crest mean in the meantime? For me?
Consider it our secret until such time as you might perform services that would enable you to wear it in public.
Much appreciated, Prince William. I will not let you down.
I am sure of it. And with that, he will leave you. And so there's not a lot more to say. Suffice to the fact the city will settle into its business. The regent will set up. At the building where the chantry is called Greenbrier Building, which won't mean much to many of you, but those of you with history will know that there is some significance to it there. And Oxford will settle into the beginning of a new age. Unbeknownst to all in Oxford, of course, there are tales in the New Forest of strange screams heard at night, wailing and cursing, and sometimes almost intelligible, as if spoken with a French accent. And on that note, I'm going to draw Blood on the Tamesis to a close. I will add that there is a letter that Velvet is going to send to his son. And if you're one of our supporters, we will be putting that up sometime next week for you to enjoy. Now, I do want to say a big and special thank you, obviously to my players, but also to all of our wonderful tech ghouls who work so hard kind of behind the scenes to make everything happen. Oh yes, now before I get to that, let me just say, you might be interested to know who gets to become a citizen of Oxfordshire with the Herald's Coin. So that winner...
And the winner is...
The winner is Miss Unreason. Congratulations, Miss Unreason.
Oh!
If you
now
can let us know
Primogen.
where you would like us to send it, we will get it off to you shortly. Oh, now, algorithm. Do we have an answer to our other question? I get the sense the algorithm is currently computing the answer and is sending it to me very shortly. That is what I'm hoping anyway. So whilst we're waiting for that, let me just thank people, as I was going to say. And I wanted to commemorate in a very sort of little way, kind of the Chronicle, and also all of your input into it, both players and tech ghouls. So I've got you a little something, which is currently on its way. It's kind of flying through the post. But if I can, I'm gonna lean on my tech ghoul Mitch.
That always providing server.
Yeah, I'm working him hard actually in these last few minutes.
Yeah.
So just quickly though, I can now tell you who won the stickers. So Nico8811DK. There's probably a cool way. If I was cool with the kids, my fellow kids, then I would probably know how to say that properly. But I don't. So
Nico88, I don't know. IDK.
See, you're
Nico
down.
88, I don't know. 88, I don't know.
You are the winner of our
with
stickers. So
Oh my
if you
God.
can get in touch and let us know your address, we will send those stickers off to you. Have you put the thing in the relevant channels, Mitch? The picture?
Wait,
What picture?
what?
So I'm asking Mitch to put a little picture in your Discord channel, players, so you can see it. And I'm also possibly asking to put in Twitch. But basically what I've done is I've got you some stickers designed by the wonderful Cedar of your characters. And for the tech ghouls, I've got a thing each as well. So there's one for Callum, there is one for Dilly, and there is one for Mitch. And they're relatively self-explanatory as to whose is who. The physical versions of those are making their way kind of across the ether in real life. But when I get them, I will send them out to you, you know, so you can put them wherever you want.
Thank you.
I already know where I'm
The
going.
sun doesn't shine. But I do want to say, obviously, we've had occasional technical joys and other excitements. But it has been a real pleasure to run the game for you all, and also Lane out there, hello. And I've always been really bowled over by our fabulous supporters who not only obviously kind of watch us and support us in that way, but also who've got involved and been part of the Chronicle as well. And I'm delighted how all of that has turned out as well. So a massive, massive thank you to all of you. Is there anything else I should be saying at this point? I don't think so. So I would just say that this is not quite the end. We will be back, Mitch and I, next week to talk about story things. But otherwise, super thank you. You've all been fabulous. And I'm gonna hand over one last time to Mitch. He's gonna cut me dead, which is actually probably gonna bring him a great deal of pleasure. So goodbye, everyone. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next week. All the best. Bye.